Hey YouTube, it's Adrian. Just before we get you to this video, do me a favor and head over to pageantlaunch.com. We are starting the world's first dedicated pageant review site, and I would love for you to join our launch team. All you need to do is put in your email address. It's completely free. We are looking to make a pageant industry that is safe, transparent, and fair. I know it's like that most of the time, but over the last year, it's become very evident that it's not like that all of the time. So head over to pageantlaunch.com, put in your email address, and let's get you to this video.
Hi, I'm Ella Rose Denton, and I'm a state finalist in the 2020 Miss World Australia competition. And today I'm doing my interview with the Pageant Project.
G'day guys, it's Adrian from the Pageant Project with you, and I'm here with another Australian, Ella Rose Denton, who's a Miss World Australia 2020 state finalist. Ella, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm well, thank you.
It's a pleasure. Now, should start this off by saying at the moment, if you're watching from overseas and you don't know, Ella lives in Victoria, which is a state south of New South Wales. And they've just entered a pretty severe lockdown, including an 8 p.m. curfew. And that's just happened in the last 24 hours or so. So Ella, I guess, how is it at the moment living in Victoria with these sort of unprecedented restrictions on us? Are you coping?
Well, I'm personally coping. I've had my job throughout all of this, so I'm super lucky. However, yeah, I can imagine some people are super tense about the whole situation. You know, there's so much uncertainty. Even I think later today, we're expected to hear from the Premier, Dan Andrews, on more restrictions regarding workplaces, etc. So yeah, it's very unknown at the moment. Yeah.
Have you done your panic buying? I saw that Victorians have done the panic buying again, and the supermarkets have said, you know, a limit of 2 on toilet paper, on pasta, and even on chocolate milk, like a Cadbury, like chocolate. So have you got all your buying in? Are you all sorted with that?
I did a normal food shop last week, but I didn't go to the extent of panic buying because all the supermarkets stay open. There's literally no need to. So, yeah.
No, that's the right answer. There's absolutely no need to. But obviously, it's a very different time, and it's a pretty scary time for a lot of people. So, Ella, you mentioned your job and that you managed to keep it, which is amazing to hear because a lot of people, unfortunately, obviously have lost their job. And for you guys who've tuned in, I can see a bunch of you watching. So if you have any comments of support for Ella, whack them in the comments, and I'll pass them on to her. She can see them. If you have any questions as well, make sure to put those in because we always get lots of supportive comments and people forget to write questions. So if you have any actual questions, put them in. But Ella, why don't you fill us in with what you do for your day job when you're not doing the glamorous job of being a pageant coordinator?
So I work as an instrument chemist in a company that does environmental testing. So I've done that for about 1.5 years now. Before that, I studied a Bachelor of Biological Science. So yeah, my work is in a lab, very hands-on, full time. So it definitely keeps me busy. It's super interesting.
I think you might have to define it a little bit more for me. So what an instrument chemist, what is that? I know what a chemist is, and I know what an instrument is, but I don't know what an instrument chemist is.
We have these specialized machines, I guess, that analyze what present chemicals, for example, are in like soil and water samples. That's what we do predominantly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so my job is to look after those instruments that are running the samples and to also analyse the samples and report that to the next level up.
Is that looking for things like heavy metal toxicity and things like analysing how fertile like farm soil is, or am I completely off base here?
No, you're on track. The section that I work in, because it's a huge organisation down here in Melbourne, we don't deal with the heavy metal side of things. My section deals with other components, but yeah, you're on the right track.
Okay, all right. How did you get into that field? Because that's a very unusual one. I don't think I've ever interviewed anyone. I've interviewed people who've been in the sciences, but not specifically a chemist. So how did you get involved with that?
So obviously I finished my studies in biological science, so sort of a different field. And then, yeah, just after I concluded my university degree, I knew I wanted to work in something that benefited the environment. I've always been passionate about that. And yeah, just got applying to jobs and was lucky enough to secure myself a job at my work, yeah.
All right. Well, that's amazing. That's a first. Okay, so we've got some comments. Amber, who I believe is your sister, right? She said,
Yes.
congratulations on all your success, Ella. And this is Danielle Allura, she's a Miss Earth finalist over in America, in Pennsylvania, obviously. And speaking of environmental sciences, she's asked, what pageant prep have you busied yourself with lately?
So I've just been trying to stick to what I have been doing, practicing question and answer. Also trying to keep up with the charity work we do in Miss World. That's through Variety, the children's charity we raise money for. So I've been doing a lot of that, and then, just trying to, schedule in a workout a few times a week, just try and keep myself in the best shape possible, both physically and mentally, especially at this time. But it's not like I have a whole bunch of extra free time on my hands, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, but yeah.
Has it been different? I mean, how has it been different for you? Because obviously this is not your first time through Miss World or through a pageant, but it is a first time for all of us trying to prepare for one whilst Corona is here. How have you found it different preparing for the pageant, given that there's a lot of lockdowns and a lot of things that we can't do that we normally would do?
Yeah, well, I think a big one is all the gyms are closed down here in Victoria. They have been for quite a while now. I think there was a week or two they were still open, and then they got closed again. So, just doing a lot of physical workouts from home. And then also we had a question and answer session with the Miss World Australia organisers, and also Esma and Sarah. So that was online, because obviously we can't do face-to-face things at the moment. So yeah, it's just a big shift to online learning with the pageant stuff, I guess. So yeah, just a lot of online, stay at home, do what you can from home.
How have you found the shift to online? Are you pretty tech savvy, or most pageant girls seem to be technophobes. I don't know why, because at their age they should be really savvy with tech, but how are you with the whole online stuff?
I'm all right. Luckily, I use a lot of computers at work, so I am all right. But sometimes, computer throws a curveball at me, so just deal with that.
That's what computers are there for. They always work up until you actually need them to work, and then they mysteriously stop working. But that's not just yourself; that's everyone. Now, in terms of pageants, can you take us through why you got started in the first place, and then also the pageants that you've competed in up to this point?
Yeah, of course. So I originally entered the pageants to, I guess, give myself a platform to make a difference. So I'm really passionate about the environment, making a change in the environment, and also, I guess, educating children to make a stand with that, I guess, and make a difference, because I feel that, children, they have such a huge effect on the world. They go home, they go tell their friends, they go tell their family. So I really wanted to use the platform to be able to educate people about improving the world that we live in. So with Pageant History, in 2018, I was a state finalist in the Miss Universe Australia competition. That was lots of fun. And then the next year, 2019, I decided to switch across to Miss World Australia, and I was a top 10 finalist in Victoria, which was fantastic. The Miss World Australia organisation is just really great. There's such a huge focus on the charity aspect, and, it's more than just a pretty face, I find. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Can you just update me? I think I asked this when I interviewed Emma Emma Snow, who obviously you know
Yeah.
very well, but
Yeah.
I can't remember, and it may have changed. What's coming up next in terms of the pageant? And is it online? Is it in person? Obviously, with Victoria, you can't do anything probably in person now. So, what's actually the next component of the competition for you?
So for myself personally, the next component is the state finals. I do know that there is still another preliminary final to be held for
Right.
Victoria. I think Emma mentioned it in her interview. They're doing an online preliminary final for WA. However,
That's right.
I'm under the impression that they're planning to do the finals towards the end of the year or the start of next year, and then hopefully do the national finals early next year. Yeah, that's what
Right.
I've heard, but everything's
And that,
changing.
yeah, that could change as well. So whatever you've heard,
Definitely.
it could change. So probably state finals later in 2020, and hopefully it can be in person at that time. And then
Hopefully.
national finals, yeah, no, as we said, we don't know, and it's not just Australia. Obviously, the entire world is sort of
Mhm.
everything is a bit chaotic at the moment. You mentioned that you're passionate about the environment and particularly getting young people to buy into it. And I think it's amazing looking at young people because they're very idealistic. Like they haven't had the
Yeah.
years of sort of, having had the experiences and going, we can't make a difference. Like kids believe they can make a difference and they do. And obviously you have people like Greta Thunberg, who's like, I think she's 14 and she's doing amazing stuff. In terms of the environment, is there any particular aspect that you're passionate about?
It's just such a huge topic issue. There's just so
Yeah.
much. I guess there's this movie, 2040. I don't know if you've seen it. It was released a couple of years ago, and it covers like a huge range of things, and it has examples of things that you can do personally and like
Mm,
realistic goals and stuff. So I think that movie is really great in explaining um, the broad scope of it all, and what you can do personally and realistic ideas that can change the
yeah.
world that we live in. But yeah, for me, I'm focused on things you can do personally, things you can do at home. Just like reusable cups, reducing your waste, composting, for example. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, I also did a month-long marine conservation program over in Thailand while I was at
Oh, wow.
uni. Yeah, so that was
Yeah.
really awesome, and that gave me huge insight into a lot of it, and also the health of the oceans and everything to do with that. So that was really great over there as well.
Just in your circle of friends and the people that you know, have you seen that most people are pretty aware and pretty willing to do what they can to help the environment? Because I think a lot of it is sort of generational as well. Like the people who, for example, will say that global warming doesn't exist, they tend to be, from what I've seen, older people who are stuck in their ways. Where it's been my impression that younger people are more willing to see what the world for what it is and try to actually make a difference. So in your experience, have you seen people that are pretty willing to try to make changes, like you said, like using single use, like using the what would you call it, reusable water
Coffee
bottles
cups,
rather than
yeah,
yeah, all
yeah.
that stuff? Have you seen your people pretty willing to try to do that?
Definitely, definitely. There's such a huge boost with the younger generation getting around that. Everyone, you go out to the shops, people are using their reusable coffee cups. They're using their drink bottles. People are trying to take their own bags to the supermarket. Even just those small things, they add up so much. And it is definitely, the younger generation. And even now, like online shopping, you can choose sustainable packaging. There's so
Mm.
much online now that you can purchase to help, reduce your own waste. Yeah,
There's definitely a lot more options. I was looking at
definitely. Yeah.
myself. You can actually buy now, if you're a company, you can ship your stuff in biodegradable plastic. I think it is. It's made from leaves or something, and it's not normal plastic, and it actually is completely recyclable. So there's a lot of things, options that we can do now as consumers to help make a difference. I mean, you've mentioned some of the things that you're passionate about. What sort of practical things have you sort of adopted into your own life to make a difference to the environment?
Yeah, so reusing drink bottles. If I get something that's in a jar, for example, maybe trying to reuse that jar to fill up with something else. Try and use things as many times as practically possible.
Yeah.
I also, where possible, like buying secondhand clothes. There's so many internet sites for that now. So you don't need to contribute to that fast fashion as much. Where possible, though, there's some things you can't buy secondhand.
Obviously.
And just little things, trying to take public transport or walk, instead of driving like 3 minutes to the supermarket, just take like a 15-minute walk down to the supermarket. There's just so much, like I can't even think of everything right now, but there's just so many little things, and it sort of becomes innate after a while, I find.
Yeah, absolutely. It becomes second nature. And it's good to see everyone taking sort of individual responsibility, I think, doing what we can. Because, I mean, obviously global warming is a huge issue. And I feel that sometimes people go, well, I can't make a difference because it's the big companies that are polluting, which is true. But I think the change starts with us individually and what we can do. Now, you got a familiar face here. Go, Ella. Can't wait to see you soon and get back to business with you. I guess on the subject of pageantry and people you meet, I mean, who are some of the people that you've met through pageantry who you would consider, that you've made friends with throughout your journey?
Yeah. So thank you, Emma, for that comment. Obviously, Emma, she's lovely. We've caught up for drinks after a training session. That was really nice. There's also another lady I met in the 2019 preliminary finals. Indy, she is so lovely. However, she has left me for sunny Byron Bay. So lucky her.
She won't be in lockdown either for being in Byron Bay.
I know, I'm so jealous. But there's just so many great girls that you meet in the pageants. You can ask them for advice. You can, go and catch up and talk about everything. It's just really great. And then on the day, it's a nice and supportive environment. Yeah, it's lovely.
Well, what's your favourite component of the competition?
Definitely evening walk, getting to do that nice, slow, formal walk and, a beautiful gown. That is my favourite component, yeah.
Do you have any favourite designers or favourite colours or favourite gowns?
Oh, there's so many stunning ones out there. There's so many. Yeah. Like if I go to the shop, I'm like looking around, like I want that one and that one, and
it's not cheap. Pageantry is not cheap, so thank God you've still got your job. But do you have any like favorite fashion designers or inspirations or things like that?
Yeah, so I think like a classic pageant brand, Sherry Hill, they have the most stunning gowns. Even before I got into pageantry, I wore one for my year 12 graduation. I just loved them. Wow. But they're quite hard to source down here in Melbourne unless you buy online. I find it's difficult to buy something like that online. I like to go and try it on. And there's also a great boutique in Melbourne on Sydney Road, I think it is, Duchess Boutique. And I bought a cocktail wear dress from them, and they have the most stunning beaded luxe designs.
Yeah, Sherry Hill and all those sort of big American pageant brands, I think they're very difficult to source in Australia in general. Not just in Melbourne. I've always thought that Melbourne is more the fashion capital of Australia than Sydney is. And I say that as being someone who lives in Sydney, but my understanding anyway, I mean, you tell me, isn't Melbourne considered to be slightly more fashionable than Sydney in terms of like what you can buy, or have I got that wrong?
I'm sure it's similar, but we've got Chadstone Shopping Centre, the fashion capital of Australia, and it is amazing there. But I'm pretty sure we've got all the same stores and everything. But people down here in Melbourne, super trendy. There's such a huge, diverse range of like fashion styles down here too. It's quite nice, going out into the city and seeing what everyone's wearing.
I do love being in Melbourne and being down by the river. I find it very, very relaxing. I mean, Sydney obviously has the harbour, but I do love walking next to the river in Melbourne. How would you describe Melburnian weather to someone who hasn't been in Melbourne? Because we just talked about Byron Bay. Now I'm thinking about the sun. And I've been watching some of my UK friends have just been through a heat wave of like 32 degrees. How would you describe Melburnian weather?
It is literally 4 seasons in one day. So I'm looking outside right now. It is clear blue skies, sunny. But when I woke up this morning, it was cloudy, freezing. It might rain later on. Who knows? It's just like, yeah, you got to prepare for anything. Yeah.
That's so fun because that's what everyone says. I don't even think it's 4 seasons in one day. I think it's 4 seasons in 1 hour now. And I don't know if that is global warming, because when I was down there with my friend from the UK, it was during January. I don't know if you can remember back to January in Melbourne, and there was a couple of days that were absolutely scorching. It was in the 40s.
Yeah.
And we went for a drive on the Great Ocean Road, and I had the air conditioning on full blast, and I still almost died. Then we went to the airport to leave. It'd been sunny the entire time. And as soon as we got out of the car, it went grey, and there was a massive thunderstorm. And I literally got drenched in between the car and the place where I had to take the keys. And then after I'd done that, the sun came back out.
Yes.
So has that ever happened to you, or was that just my good fortune to get that dump as soon as I got out of the car?
Yeah, we do get those summer storms, and yeah, like 1 minute it's nice and sunny. Like you can be down at the beach, it's beautiful, and then you just start seeing like this black cloud rolling in and lightning, thunder. Yeah, we do get summer storms, but they generally clear up quite quickly. But yeah.
They did clear up very quickly, cleared up as soon as I went indoors, but then I was soaked for my flight back to Sydney. Do you have any idea why Melbourne is like that, just out of interest? Why does Melbourne have that weather that's just so temperamental?
I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. Maybe it's because we're close to the south. I don't know. Maybe.
Must be.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I don't know. It's just something that, I mean, because Melbourne is famous for having the 4 seasons in one day. I just think it's not one day. I think it's literally 1 hour. That's what I got anyway. Now, Mary Denton she hasn't said anything. She's sent a bunch of hearts for you.
Oh, thanks,
and
Mom.
Corin, I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Peterson or
Peterson? Yeah.
Peterson has said beautiful, Ella. We were talking about the dresses before. Is my memory failing me, or did you tell me that you actually sold one of your dresses on to Krista Heath? Was that you?
Yes, that was the Blue Sherry Hill one.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm remembering that. How did you manage to? Because Krista's obviously up here in New South Wales. How did you manage to connect with her to sell the dress on?
There's a Facebook group. If I can remember off the top of my head, I think it's like the Pageant Room. And a lot of people sell their secondhand dresses on there, and yeah, it's really handy because there's some beautiful dresses that go up there and at a fraction of the price that they're usually worth. Yeah,
especially Sherry Hill ones. I can imagine. Now, in terms of sort of stuff that so we've covered covered your career, and we've covered a little bit about pageantry. What do you do in your spare time to unwind, if you have any? Most pageant girls don't seem to have any, and if they do, they seem to fill it up with something else. Pageant girls seem to hate free time. But do you have any hobbies, or do you do anything for relaxation?
Well, I've got my dog, Sky. She's a husky. I enjoy taking her down to the beach because I live quite close to the beach now. So, yeah, just lots of walks at the beach with my dog. I like cooking, making lots of healthy meals. But it's not, I don't get a lot of free time really, unfortunately. So, I do try and, schedule in some relaxation every now and then.
What's life with a husky like? I love huskies.
Yeah, fairy, a lot of hair everywhere.
Everywhere. Are they very out? I mean, they're almost like wolves or wild dogs, and they need a lot of exercise. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. I think there was been a day when I didn't walk her because it was raining. It was just horrible weather, and she was going crazy, just zoomies around the whole house, just running up and down the stairs, just absolutely crazy. But she's gorgeous. She is the best thing to come home to after work. Yeah, they've got such insane personality. I feel like they're very humanized.
Do you talk to your dog?
Yes.
I just asked because I'm suddenly I did an interview with Miss Universe Great Britain, and she was demonstrating how she talked to her dog, and she sounded like
I'm
a
not going
crazy
to
person.
demonstrate how I talk to my dog, but yeah, I do talk to it, and she talks back, so she's very vocal, which is great.
Do you do a silly voice, or do you just talk to her normally?
No, I do a silly voice, that high
Of
pitched,
course.
like, yeah.
Why do we all do this with our pets? We all speak to our pets in high pitched voices, absolute nonsense, and we have this great conversation where it's really just us talking to ourselves. How big does a husky get? Just out of
Well,
interest.
maybe they're a large breed of dog.
Yeah.
Luckily, Sky's on the smaller side, so she fits perfectly in my car on the front seat, which is fantastic. But yeah, they do generally get quite large, maybe like above the knee, like thigh. Yeah.
So they're not absolutely massive dogs, but they're on the larger side.
Yeah, that's correct. Yes.
Yeah. And so you've got to spend a lot of time, obviously, taking her for walks and exercising her, things like that.
Yes. Yes. Playing with her. Yeah. But it's
And you
lots of
mentioned
fun.
you like, oh, I'll bet. A lot of hard work, like actually having a real baby. I think you can't leave her at home, not like a cat. A cat you can just leave at home and forget about for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not forget, but well, I'll move on. You mentioned cooking. Do you have any favorite dishes you like to cook? When I interviewed Emma, she was talking about all the Italian stuff and making loaves of bread. So what do you like to cook? Let's talk about food.
Oh, you're gonna make me hungry.
I know. It's
I am
an
a
interview. We have to talk about food.
I am a sucker for like a Sunday or weekend breakfast, cooking up like poached eggs, avocado, feta. Oh, it's the best.
Wow.
But I can't go past like a good bowl of spaghetti bolognese on like a warm, like on a cold winter's night, sorry.
But if everyone loves Italian food, I'm yet to meet anyone. Actually, no, I've met one person who's not crazy about Italian food, but by and large, I think everyone in pageant land is in love with Italian food. You mentioned poach eggs, so you poach eggs yourself?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Can you tell me, as someone who wanted to learn how to poach eggs and went out and bought a dozen eggs trying to poach them and didn't make a single one successfully out of 12, what is the secret to poaching an egg?
All right, so you got to get the water like simmering, like not boiling, just little bubbles coming up, and then you stir it around with like a spoon or something, and add some white vinegar, just like a cupful, I don't know, a teaspoonful, just a little bit of vinegar, and then when the water's spinning around, just gently crack an egg in there, and then I don't know, I wait till like my toast is cooked, and then I find the eggs cooked as well, and I don't know, it's not hard. Come on.
Well, for me, I mean, why did mine not come together? Like mine just sort of went all over the place and didn't make that nice little egg packet. It just sort of became like an egg spider. So what am I doing wrong?
Did you put vinegar in it?
Yeah. The whole egg tasted like vinegar. I didn't stir it though.
Yeah, if you stir it, it just encourages it to stay in a nice little ballish shape.
Okay. And you drop the egg on the side, or you drop it right in the middle where the whirlpool sort of is?
Yeah, but like close to the water so it doesn't splash everywhere.
Yeah. So not from above your head and
no.
Right. I might give that another go because I do love poached eggs, but I still have PTSD from trying to make them. I cracked so many eggs. I think I split the yolk of like 2 of the 12. It was just awful. Absolutely awful. I do like cooking, but poached eggs are the one thing that I seem to not be able to make. I can make souffles, I can make everything else, but just not poached eggs. Do you make any desserts?
No, not particularly. I used to make a lot of cakes, but I don't know. I'd rather just make a meal now. If I have dessert, it's usually just a cheeky bowl of ice cream or something like that, some chocolate.
It's very dangerous to be a good baker during lockdown. That's what I found. That's from women around the world, pageant girls around the world. Everyone seems to have taken up baking, and it's not good for your waistline. Let's put it that way. When you're baking a cake every day. Ella, just before we go to the final 10 questions, is there anyone that you would like to give a shout out to for supporting you along your journey, both in life in general, but also pageantry? And I will say, if you saw Emma's interview, she made an absolute hash of this section. So Emma, if you're watching this, I'm going to point you out as an example. She referred to her friends as fans. I don't know whether they've forgiven her for that.
That's great. I love that.
Is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to? Oh, you can refer to them as your fans. They probably should be fans, but I probably call them friends first. Anyone that you want to give a shout out to? Sponsors, friends, family, etc.
Oh, definitely my family and friends, just for always supporting me, listening to all my pageant stories and, all my adventures, and also, for coming to my charity events and supporting the charity. Yeah, it's just really great to be surrounded by a whole group of friends and family that are just so lovely and supportive. So thank you so much.
Have you had any very sort of random adventures in pageant land, like weird ones, spontaneous ones, embarrassing ones?
I don't think so. I'm just trying to think. Nothing memorable. So I think that's like nothing bad that's memorable. Like it's all been great and memorable, but nothing bad. No falling on stage or anything, thank God. So yeah.
That's good. Touch wood. I should ask, I mean, you've been in a few pageants now. What do you think you've gained personally from being involved with pageantry, like in terms of personal development or skills or things like that?
Yeah, so definitely being able to connect with a broader range of people. So like through the charity work, connecting with, a whole range of people, being able to, I guess, put together an event, because before pageants, I had no idea how to plan a proper event. And yeah, it's been really great doing that. Yeah. And just, the whole experience has been fantastic and really rewarding.
Do you have any goals for yourself with Miss World Australia this year? I mean, obviously it's a very strange year with Corona, but have you set yourself any particular goals with it?
Yes, so obviously, besides, the whole goal of getting right up there, hopefully making it to national finals and, top 5 or something, that would be amazing. That would be absolutely amazing. Just to be able to continue what I'm doing, to be able to host another charity event, providing that all the Corona pandemic stuff goes away. To be able to just host a really good event. Yeah.
Well, hopefully when Corona leaves, the sooner the better. Anyway, let's, Ella, go to the final 10 questions. So, and it's not a speed round. You can take your time answering. For some reason, everyone thinks you need to answer as quickly as possible. Question 1, what is your favorite word?
Sky. That's my dog's name.
That's fair enough. Question, is that Sky with an E or just Sky as an S-K-Y?
S-K-Y-E.
That's a nice name. Question 2, what is your least favorite word? Are you going to say moist?
No, I'm not, because so many people say moist. I can't come up with a different least favorite word. Probably panties. I just don't like that word. It's just so immature.
I have heard that one once before. Just out of interest, how do you feel about the word moist?
It's like I wouldn't bring it up in a conversation. I wouldn't say it in a conversation. Maybe I'd use it as the last word possible to describe something that was moist. Yeah.
I mean, you used to you bake, right? And that's where the M word comes into it the most, I think, is when you describe a cake as moist. Can you think of another way of describing a cake that's moist without using the word moist? Because I couldn't. You can't describe it as wet or damp.
Hydrated.
I think lovely cake of mine that's well hydrated. Emma literally can't say the word without cringing, like
I
in her
know.
skins. I think it's really, really funny. Question 3. In life, what gets you excited? What turns you on?
Um, Either my dog or a big bowl of pasta bolognese with cheese.
I'm getting really hungry now.
Yeah.
Is there any secret to making a good bowl of spaghetti bolognese? Do you have any secret for the bolognese sauce, or?
No, I'm terrible. Like I do use the jar sauce. I don't have anyone around me who actually makes it from scratch, unfortunately. I should try one day, but yeah, I just use the jar sauce, but then add heaps of stuff in, and mushrooms also make it
Oh,
great.
that's fine. That's fine. As long as you add something of your own, then you've made it
Yeah,
from scratch,
definitely.
I say.
Yeah.
Question 4, what turns you off?
Um, Lying, people that lie. Yeah, just straight out. No.
Definitely get with that one. Okay, question 5, what sound or noise do you love?
Um, when I used to live at my parents' place, they lived on a farm with lots of horses,
Oh, wow.
and yeah, it was great. Walking up to the stables and just my horse would always neigh at me when I'd walk up. It was fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, wow, you've
Always
got a
good.
horse.
Yes, I do. I do. I've got a horse at my parents' place. His name's Zane. He's an Arabian. I've had him since I was 10. So yeah.
Oh, wow. Do you do any like show riding or things like that? Show jumping?
Oh, I used to compete every single weekend. I was obsessed with it. I loved it. It was took up so much of my time. It was fantastic. And then, yeah, I guess with year 12, I sort of slowed down on it. But I do love going back there and going for a ride on my horse and just being out on the farm. It's great.
Yeah, I can imagine it must be pretty peaceful when you know what you're
Yeah.
doing. I mean, I'm horrible at horse riding. Every time I go on a horse, it tries to knock me off. But I
Oh.
imagine if you, well, it's those trail horses that are all sort of trained to just follow one another, and they
Mm.
don't take any instructions. And the last time I was on one, it tried to walk under. It walked into a tree to try and knock me off, and I wasn't very happy with it. Um, question 6: what sound or noise do you hate?
Oh, this is easy. So when you have nails and they scratch on like coarse material, it just gives me goosebumps. It's disgusting. Everyone that knows me knows I hate this too.
How often does it happen? Can you remember the
Oh, like
last
it
time it
could be
happened?
accidental. Like if you're in the car and a nail scratches on the car seatbelt, that's just disgusting. I can't stand it. It gives me goosebumps. It's awful.
The worst thing the thing that gives me goosebumps is when someone gets, when you got a chip in your nail or something and it tags on something and then you get stuck in something and then you rip your nail off or you rip your nail in half. That
Yeah.
gives me
Oh,
goosebumps. Okay, we'll leave we'll leave
mm,
nails out of it.
please.
Question 7: if you could have any one superpower, what would you pick and why?
I would pick seeing into the future. Is that a superpower?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because no one can
Yeah.
do it. So yeah.
Yeah, I would pick being able to see into the future at the moment to be able to see what happens with the coronavirus pandemic, see when that's all over. And,
Yeah.
it'd be good to pick the lotto numbers and,
Oh, of
just
course,
things
yeah.
like that. Yeah.
That's yeah, I can see that one. I mean, out of interest, where do you see yourself anywhere in particular in terms of like 5 years, 10 years? Do you set yourself goals that far ahead?
So sometimes, somewhat. Obviously, at the moment, we're just taking each day as it
Yeah, of
comes.
course.
But yeah, in like 5 years' time, I would love to be, in a high power role at my job at the science lab. That would be fantastic. And, just living a great life, making a difference to the world that we live in. Yeah.
Sounds good. Question 8: what job or occupation, other than your own, would you most like to attempt?
I think it would be fantastic to be a travel guide or air hostess, something that travels around a lot, getting to see the globe. It would be fantastic. I do love traveling. I haven't done too much of it, but yeah, a job like that would be lots of fun.
How many countries have you been to so far?
I've only been to 2. I've been to New Zealand and Thailand.
That's fair. I mean, it's obviously we can't go traveling anywhere. Literally, us Aussies can't go anywhere at the moment.
I know.
So, yeah, I think I'm with you. As soon as that's lifted, then I'll be looking for a chance to travel somewhere. Question 9. What job or occupation would you definitely not like to attempt?
Maybe, this is a tough one. Well, it's not really that tough, but there's so many. Probably someone that is in pest control or pest extermination. That'd be pretty gross.
Is that because you don't want to kill the pests, or you don't want to see the dead pests, or?
Like, they work in disgusting conditions, like down in sewages and stuff, and like killing, I don't know, cockroaches or something. That'd be disgusting.
You're not a fan of cockroaches, I take it?
No, bugs are definitely big no-no.
I don't think anyone is a fan of cockroaches. I mean, there's probably, you take any animal or insect in the world, there's probably someone who likes it, but I find it hard to imagine there's anyone who's a fan of cockroaches. Final question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
It's a really nice question.
It's not mine, I stole it.
Yeah. I guess I would like to hear God say, if I arrived at the pearly gates, you know, just thank you for making a difference to the world we live in. You know, thank you for leaving it in a better state than you found it. Yeah, just thank you, I guess.
Sounds good. If God's thanking us for making a difference, then we've done a good job. Well, that's the final 10. Guys, if you have any more comments before I hang up with Ella, put them in the comments now. Alex Dwyer has said, go Ella. You're doing amazing.
Oh, thank you, Alex.
So what we'll do, if no one else has any final questions, Ella, I'll keep you on the line for just a sec whilst I hang up with the audience. But thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
It's been a pleasure. Always nice to interview Aussie girls. And best of luck with Miss World whenever it happens. Hopefully it happens soon, but we just don't know at the moment. And obviously stay safe down in Victoria. Our thoughts are definitely with you with the lockdown and everything else. So thanks Ella for your time. Thanks everyone for watching, whether it's live or on the replay. And we will speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, it's Adrian again. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and remember to head over to pageantlaunch.com and join the launch team for our pageant review site. All you need to do is put in your email address. Thanks, and speak to you next time.